Hello, this is Mrs. Bentley, and I'm here to go over the lesson Writing and Solving Equations from Word Problems. You have guided notes to follow along, so make sure you write each step down as I explain them. Let's take a look at problem A. This is a new one-year membership at RecPlex cost $160. A registration fee of $28 is paid up front, and the rest is paid monthly. How much do the new members pay each month? So part one says define the variable. What do we not know? So if you look at the question, that's usually going to help you out. The question says, how much do new members pay each month? So we are trying to find the monthly cost. So we're going to define the monthly cost with a variable. I'm going to use the variable m. Okay, now it says determine the constant, if there is one. So a constant is going to be the y-intercept. That's going to be a fee that you pay one time up front. So notice in that second sentence, they tell us there is a registration fee of $28. This is going to be a fee you pay one time when you first sign up. So that $28 is going to be our constant. Now it says, what is the rate? Look for each per something that will repeat. So if we look, it says a new one-year membership at RecPlex cost $160. $28 is paid up front and the rest is paid monthly. How do new members pay each month? So we're really not given this information, but if we reason through this, we can probably figure out how much this person has to pay each month. So if you notice, they're paying $128. $160, but $28 of that is registration fee. So if we take the $160 and we subtract the $28 registration fee, we can find how much remains as the monthly cost. So 160 minus 28, that simplifies to 132. And if we're going to pay this over 12 months, we can take the 132 and divide by the 12 months. And 132 divided by 12 comes out to $11. Now, number 4 asks us to write the equation and solve. So what I would like for us to do now is I want us to actually write an equation to represent the cost if we continued this membership past those 12 months. So we know the monthly fee is $11, and we know the person has to pay a one-time fee of $28. The amount you pay per month, this number is going to be your rate of change. So that's going to be the slope in the equation. The amount you pay one time is your starting amount. So this is going to be your B value. So as a linear equation, we would write this as y equals $11 per month plus the $28 registration fee. Okay, let's take a look at letter B. We have Juan's cell phone company charges $35 a month for phone service plus 50 cents for each text message. How many text messages does Juan send in a month if his bill was $52? So again, we're looking at the number of text messages. So we're going to represent text messages with the variable, I'm just going to use X this time. Now, if you notice, they tell us that one cell phone company charges a monthly fee, you would just pay that one time a month of $35. So you pay the $35 and then you pay in addition to that 50 cents per text. So the constant is going to be that $35 fee. Okay, now it's asking for the rate. If you look at the problem, they tell us how much one has to pay per text message. So our rate, which is also the same thing as our slope, is going to be 50 cents. We're now going to build the equation. So remember, your constant is your y-intercept. You're only going to pay that once. and then you're going to pay 50 cents for every text message you send. So your total cost, Y, equals 50 cents per text message plus the $35 fee. Now that we have built the equation, we can work on answering the question. The question says if Juan spends $52 in a month, how many text messages did he send? Now you need to understand that X represents the text messages. So that means Y is going to be that monthly bill. Y is going to be the monthly bill. So they're giving us how much his bill was. So they're giving us a value for Y. So Y equals 52. So in your equation, we're going to substitute 52 in for Y. And now we're going to solve for X. So go ahead and separate your two sides of the equation. Our X is on the right side. We need to move this constant 35 to the left. So we're going to subtract 35 from each side. Okay, so 52 minus 35, that's going to simplify to 17 equals 50 cents per text message. And now to find out how many text messages Juan sent, we're going to divide the $17 by 50 cents. And you should get X equals 34. Now we always want to label the answer so we know what this 34 represents. So that's 34 text messages. Okay, in question C it says Friendships soccer team purchased uniforms and equipment for a total cost of $912. The equipment cost $612 and the uniforms cost $25 each. How many uniforms did the school purchase? Define the variable, determine the constant, what is the rate, write the equation, and solve. So the unknown is how many uniforms. How many uniforms did this team order? So we're going to say our unknown is uniforms. It's actually the number of uniforms, and I'm going to stick with the variable X. Okay, they're going to buy some equipment, but they're only going to have to pay that cost one time. So the equipment cost is going to be a one-time payment. So that's going to be our constant. So they're going to pay that $612 once, and then they're going to have to pay the rate, $25 each per uniform. So understand, this is your slope, this is your y-intercept. We now can form the equation y equals $25 per uniform plus the $612 for the equipment. Now go back to the beginning of the problem. They tell us the total cost. The total cost for this purchase was $912. Remember, the total cost is going to be where we substitute the number in for y. X is the number of uniforms, y is the cost. So where we see the variable y, we're going to substitute 912 equals 25x plus $612. Now we have our equation. We're able to solve to find x. Okay, we're going to start by subtracting that 612 on both sides. And 912 minus 612 simplifies to 300. Each uniform costs $25, so we're going to divide that $300 by 25 to find the number of uniforms. So $300 divided by $25 comes out to 12 uniforms. So to get this total cost, with the equipment cost, 12 uniforms were purchased. Okay, in D and E, you're going to notice we're doing the same steps. They're not laying it out for us, but keep in mind, when we're writing linear equations, We're always trying to identify the slope, and we're always trying to identify the y-intercept. So when you see these values mentioned in a problem, you need to ask yourself, is this something we're going to pay one time, or is this something we may pay more than one time? The one-time amount is always going to be your y-intercept. The amount you may pay for more than once will be your slope or your rate. So Long's Coffee Shop sells a refill mug for $8.95. Each refill cost $1.50. Last month, Jaleesa spent $26.95 on a mug and refills. How many refills did she buy? Write the equation and solve. So we know Jaleesa spent money, and we know she spent a total amount of $26.95. Now notice they're telling us she spent this money on a mug, which means she only purchased one, and refills. So that could mean more than one. So the mug cost is going to be the y-intercept. The refill cost is going to be our rate. As we purchase more refills, the amount we spend is going to increase. Okay, now we're going to write the equation. We're going to use our slope and our y-intercept. So the equation is y equals $1.50 times x. X is going to represent the number of refills, plus the fee we pay for the mug, the $8.95. Once you've developed your equation, notice they're giving us the total cost. Y is the total cost, and x is the number of refills. So we are going to substitute the $26.95 where we see our y value in the equation. The cost, remember, depends on the number of refills. So y is the dependent variable. So we're going to say $26.95 equals $1.50 x plus $8.95. And now we're going to solve for x. So we're subtracting $8.95 on each side. $26.95 minus $8.95 equals, hold on, I did something wrong, sorry. $26.95 minus $8.95 equals $18. That's what I thought. I just wanted to double check myself. So we get $18 equals $1.50x. So $26.95 minus $8.95 is $18. Now we're going to divide $18 by the $1.50, which is the cost per refill. And that shows that Jaleesa purchased 12 refills. She purchased 12 refills. So if we divide 18 by $1.50, you're going to find that she purchased 12 refills. Okay, I'm going to read E. I would like for you to take some time to try this one on your own, and in just a few moments I will start the video back and you can check your work. So it says the bill for the repair of a computer was $179. The cost for parts was $44, and the labor charge was $45 per hour. How many hours did it take to repair the computer? Now remember, we're not going to use the total amount until after we've built the equation. So ignore the $179 for right now. I want you to read that second sentence and think about which of those amounts will you pay once and which amount will you pay more than once. Remember, you want to identify your slope. That's going to be that amount that you may pay more than one time. And your y-intercept, that's going to be that starting fee or starting amount. You're only going to pay that once. Write the equation, filling those numbers into y equals. You're going to fill in your slope, and then you're going to fill in your y-intercept. Once you have your equation, you will then substitute in the place of y $179 because that was the total bill. And then you can finish solving for x. Okay, now that you've had some time to try the problem on your own, you should have identified that you're paying the cost for parts. That's the one-time fee. You're going to pay for the parts to fix the computer one time. Then the labor charge was $45 per hour. Keyword here is per hour. So that means depending on the number of hours the job takes, we will have to pay $45 each hour. So $45 is your slope, and the cost for the parts is your y-intercept. You should have the equation y equals 45x plus $44. Remember, they told us the total bill to repair the computer was $179, so you substitute 179 in the place of your dependent variable y, set it equal to $45 per hour plus the $44 for your parts. Now solve for x. So we subtract 44 from each side. That simplifies to 135 equals 45x. And now to undo the multiplying, divide each side by 45. 135 divided by 45 simplifies to 3. And remember, x represents hours, so that's 3 hours it took to complete the job of repairing the computer. Okay, we're looking at letter F. The Elk Grove Bowling Alley offers a special. Each game costs $2.50 and shoe rental $2. You spend $14.50 total. How many games did you bowl? Write the equation and solve. So understand the cost is going to depend on how many games you bowl. So y is going to represent the cost, and x is going to represent the number of games. Okay, if you think about the cost, they tell us that each game costs $2.50. So this is going to be our slope. We're going to pay that maybe more than one time. It's going to depend on how many games we play. Now the shoe rental, we're only going to have to pay that fee one time. So that's going to be our y-intercept. So now we're going to organize the equation. Y equals $2.50 per game plus the $2 shoe rental. They tell us we spent a total of $14.50. So in the place of y, we're going to substitute the total spent, $14.50, equals $2.50 x plus 2. Now again, we're just using our equation equality rules for solving. So we need to subtract 2 from each side. $14.50 minus $2, that simplifies to $12.50. This is going to, our 2 minus 2 equals 0, so on the right side we're left with $2.50 times x. And now undo the multiplying by dividing. Divide each side by 250, and you're going to get x equals 5. So based on this total cost, we played 5 games when we went bowling. Okay, this question's a little different, but I think if you draw a picture, this will help you visualize how to set the equation up. So it says the sum of the measure of the angles of all triangles is 180 degrees. If one angle of the triangle measures 45 degrees and the other 2 angles are equal, what is the measure of each of the other 2 angles? So we could kind of work backwards here, but I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture. We're going to say this is our triangle. We know this top angle is 45 degrees, and we are trying to find the 2 missing angles. I'm going to label those 2 angles x. We know that the sum of all 3 angles must equal 180 degrees. So if we combine like terms, x plus x, this simplifies to 2x, plus the 45-degree angle we're given, equals the total angle measure 180 degrees. So now we can solve for x to find the missing angles. We're going to subtract 45 from 180. That's going to simplify to 2x equals 135. And now we're going to divide each side by 2. And that simplifies to 67.5. So we know the angle measure, each angle measure that's missing measures 67.5. That would be in degrees. So this measure, 67.5. This measure is also 67.5. If you add those three angle measures together, you will see that the total comes out to 180 degrees. Okay, you should be getting the hang of this, hopefully, at this point, but we're going to look at two more examples, and then you're going to have some time to work on your practice. That's on the back of the sheet. Letter H says Sandra scores 4 baskets in her first basketball game. She then scored the same number of baskets in each of her next 3 games. If Sandra made 19 baskets total, how many baskets did she score in each of the 3 games? Write the equation and solve. So we're looking for the number of baskets that she scored in the 3 games following her first game. So X is going to be points scored. Okay, Y is going to be the total baskets. So the total baskets she scored is going to depend on how many baskets she made those 3 games following her first game. So we're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. We're going to say the total baskets equals 3 times, because she played 3 more games, 3 games times the number of points scored, this is what we're trying to find, plus the 4 baskets she scored in her first game. So that first game is your y-intercept. We're trying to find out how many points she scored in the 3 games following. They do state that she scored the same number of baskets in each of her next 3 games. So this X value is going to be the same for each game. Okay, they tell us she scored a total of 19 baskets. Remember, Y represents total baskets, so we're substituting 19 in the place of Y equals 3X plus 4. And now we're going to subtract 4 from each side and solve. 19 minus 4 simplifies to 15. Our 4 minus 4 equals 0, so on the right side we're just left with the 3 times x. Now divide by 3, divide by 3, 15 divided by 3 calculates that she scored 5 baskets in those last 3 games. Okay, in the last example, letter I, it says you and 3 friends go to the town carnival. You have a coupon for $20 off that will save your group money. If the total bill to get into the carnival was $100, how much does one regular price ticket cost? Write the equation and solve. Okay, so make sure you notice that it says $20 off. Notice we underlined that. So we are not going to add the $20. We're actually going to have to subtract the $20 because this is a discount. Okay, if you look at the final question says, how much does one regular price ticket cost? So they're wanting the cost of a ticket before the discount. So we're going to let X represent the regular ticket cost. I'm just going to put regular ticket, and then I'll put a $sign for cost. And Y is going to represent the total bill. Now they state in the problem that 3 friends go to the carnival, so we're going to have to purchase 3 tickets. Again, we do not know the price of the ticket, so that 3 is going to be the coefficient of X, which will make it our slope. So the total cost is going to equal 3 people times the ticket price. Now remember, we're getting a discount, so instead of saying plus 20, we're actually going to subtract the $20. So this time your y-intercept is at negative 20. Okay, now we're going to set this up to solve. They tell us the total bill to get into the carnival was $100. So we're going to substitute, remember y is the total bill, In the place of y, we're going to substitute the $100 equals 3x minus 20, and now again solve for x. We're going to add 20 on each side of the equation. 100 plus 20 is 120, and we're going to have this set equal to 3x. One more step, divide both sides of the equation by positive 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1x, so we have our x by itself, so we know x equals 120 divided by 3 is 40. And remember, this is representing the cost of a ticket, so this would be $40 per ticket. That's the regular price before the discount. Okay, with the time you have remaining in class, you need to flip over and work on the back of this lesson. You have practice. It says slope intercept form word problems. There are 16 problems. Make sure you read the questions carefully. Some of these questions are only wanting you to write the equation, and then you can stop. So remember to pay attention to which number is going to represent the slope. That should be an amount you're going to pay possibly more than once, and which amount is going to be your y-intercept. That's going to be an amount you're only going to pay one time. That's always going to be your constant. I believe the first three problems you're just writing the equation. When you get to number 4, it's going to ask you to substitute a value in for x or y. Pay attention to what information they're giving you. If it's not the total, then you should substitute the number in for x. So in number 4 on your practice, it says use the equation you wrote in problem 3 to find the total cost. So you're finding total cost. Total cost is y of being an all-star library member for 19 months. So you should substitute 19 in for x in this equation. So again, it's very important that you state what each variable represents. So when given a value, you know where to substitute it in the equation. You should have time to complete this during class time. We will go over this on Monday, and I will answer any questions you have. If you finish early, of course, work on your ALEKS Unit 2A assignment, and I'm going to post an assignment on Google Classroom if you need some additional practice. Thank you guys, and I will see you on Monday.